Dr. Hong is surprised to see E2's body inside the freezer in the infirmary. She takes a few moments to gather herself before hastily alerting the captain. Meanwhile, the captain is searching the corridors for a route out after the gates have locked them. E2's demise, as well as the loss of lunar water, come as a complete surprise to him. He instructs Chief Gong to continue searching for Luna while he checks the infirmary through a vent to see who stole the water. He also calls Kim's son, a crew member who is closer to the command center, while on his way. When Kim's son learns that Ryu could be an imposter who killed E2, he becomes wary. He searches the panel for Ryu's location and discovers that he is also in the command center. Ryu appears in front of Kim's son and aims a revolver at him just as he becomes aware of his presence. He's curious as to why the others are searching for Song and what the situation with Luna is. Luna's presence has prompted him to deviate from his main aim, which is to kill the others and bring the water to Earth. He shoots Kim's son in the leg and demands all of his information. The poor man, terrified, informs him that Song has gone after Luna. Kim's son pulls out a capsule and threatens to hit Ryu with it as he realizes he is about to be slain. Ryu, on the other hand, shoots him 3 times without giving him a chance to react. In the process, the capsule cracks and the water within begins to spread. Ryu closes and locks the door to prevent it from gaining access to the command center. Kim's son begs for his life on the inside, while Ryu stands by and watches him die. Soon after, he vomits liters of water and imagines himself drowning in a deep sea. He eventually succumbs to his injuries and dies on the floor. Even when he dies, his body continues to release lunar water at an alarming rate. With a trembling breath, Ryu watches this, finally accepting that he killed his teammates. He is, however, too far gone at this time to look back. Meanwhile, Song is with Luna, who has fallen asleep. Song feels a sense of obligation toward her sister after seeing the little girl with her sister's picture. Then she notices Luna's bed has a hard drive on it. She doesn't waste any time before putting it all on the computer. The drive contains all of the data related to the lunar water project. Song also discovers a video library dating back to the initial experiment. She notices her sister among the researchers in the first video. They pour a few droplets of lunar water into a box containing a fish. The water molecules behave normally and grow rapidly, eventually filling the box and providing a safe environment for the fish. Song then comes into another archive called Luna. This is when she learns that the experiments were not only carried out on animals, but also on a cloned human daughter. Luna 073 is the name of the little girl because she is the child's 73rd clone and the only one who survived the terrible experiments performed on her. Everyone else was slain and handled like guinea pigs. Song watches each video of the clone's demise, stunned by the researchers' callousness and indifference. Then she comes upon a video of her sister expressing her want for the experiment to finish soon. She was also one of the researchers that murdered the youngsters in the name of humanity. Song is unsure how to feel towards her sister now that she is aware of her actions. She imagines herself conversing with her, but the conversation is brief and does not provide her with any relief. Song injects a capsule of lunar water into Luna's leg, which heals her wounds after a short time. Ryu is also attempting to destroy the air purification system so that he can flee and leave the rest of the crew to perish. However, he discovers a pressure anomaly building on the base while doing so. The water in the basement has multiplied and has filled it to the brim. It is then disclosed. It has now become a menace to the entire base, which might flood at any time. The captain and Dr. Hong make it into the command center after escaping the storage unit. They discover Kim's son's body, indicating that Ryu's purpose is to kill everyone. They then eventually unlock the doors that Ryu had previously locked. Dr. Hong goes to the main lab and waits for everyone while the chief searches for Ryu. Because the doors are now open, Gong can search for Song and Luna as well. Luna is now entirely at ease in Song's presence. She even tries to communicate with her by asking for more candies. Gong, who perceives Luna as a threat, abruptly interrupts them. He intends to assassinate her, but Song stands in the way. The captain instructs Gong to transport Luna to the lab alive via a device. Then and only then does he put his rifle down. Luna dashes outside through the corridors, trailed by the other two. Song instructs her to travel the opposite route when she makes a mistake turn. Gong doubts Luna's ability to follow commands, but she pleasantly surprises him by doing so. Song, relieved, tries to catch up with her but is forced to stop when a drop of water lands on her cheek. This indicates that lunar water has entered fissures and vents, putting the base in risk of flooding. The sun begins to set outside, and the temperature begins to drop at an exponential rate. The water begins to freeze, allowing the team more time to flee. The water inside the temperature-controlled parts of the base, on the other hand, continues to flow. The captain discovers Ryu and attacks him in the midst of the pandemonium. Unlike his other targets, the betrayer finds it difficult to fight the captain. The captain is successful in disarming him and putting him in a chokehold. When Ryu realizes he can't resist any longer, he tells the captain that only he knows what happened 5 years ago at the base. Ryu appears to know something that the rest of the group does not. The captain becomes preoccupied, which allows him to flee. When lunar water seeps from above Ryu, they point their pistols at each other. He collapses on the ground, aware that his death is approaching. A flashback depicts how the researchers were slain 5 years ago in the base. The administration was being discreetly chastised for the project, and an investigation was going to be launched. To avoid being exposed, President Choi dispatched soldiers to assassinate all of the scientists, claiming the incident was caused by a radiation outburst. No one would want to visit the base if they were afraid of being killed. The chief researcher was Song's older sister, who was also killed in the disaster. Aside from that, Ryu was one of the soldiers who abandoned the group at the base. He regrets that day, which is why he believes that humans are unworthy of water. Back in the present, the base's passageways begin to fill with lunar water. In the lab, the captain meets Song and the others and informs them of Ryu's death. Song becomes sick and begins to suffocate. She recalls the drop of water that had fallen on her earlier and goes into another room to protect the others. She soon starts vomiting water and passes out. She also sees herself drowning in the water and seeing her sister in her dream. She finds herself in a bed with Dr. Hong beside her as she wakes up. Even after being exposed to lunar water, her vitals appear to be recovering to normal. This, according to Dr. Hong, could be due to Luna's bite, which served as an antibody. The captain wants to return Luna and the samples to Earth, but first they must ensure Luna will not be subjected to any further brutal tests. The captain phones Mr. Kim from SAA and informs him of the situation. Mr. Kim reveals that he has begun a protest against Choi, and SAA employees have starting to recognize the lunar project for what it is. If they are taken back to Earth, he promises to ensure that no one has a monopoly on Luna or the water. Now that he's made his pledge, all that's left is to locate Ryu's capsules and return home. Luna is approached by the captain, who places a tracker on her leg. Despite her reservations, she gives him a chance and develops a bond with him. Then she notices a sticker on his bodysuit. Before the mission, his ailing daughter gave it to him. In a flashback, his daughter mistook the sticker for a mechanism for him to return to her at any time. He offers the sticker to Luna without hesitation, despite the fact that it is very close to him. Gong has completed all of the necessary preparations for their departure. They walk towards the exit but had to come to a halt as Luna comes to a halt and places her ear on the floor. She hears the water coming towards them, but before she can warn the others, they begin to hear it as well. They dash for the exit, closing the doors behind them as they do so. Still, the water pursues them, slamming all of the doors shut. On the way, the gang encounters Ryu, who is still alive but in poor health. He has them held at gunpoint and threatens to kill them if they go any farther. Gong shoots him to death, but Ryu manages to shoot him as well. After that, the crew dashes to the exit and dons their spacesuits. The captain does everything he can to assist Gong, but his injury is too severe for him to survive. He eventually succumbs to his illness and dies. The captain quickly tries to open the door when everyone is dressed. However, he discovers that the system failure has resulted in a glitch, requiring him to physically touch a button from the hallway to open it. The captain enters the hallway and closes the door between them when no one is looking. Song realizes this and begs him to reconsider, but he has already made up his mind. For them to reach the outside safely, he will have to give his life. The door eventually opens, and water pours into the corridor. On the one hand, the captain dies, while Song and the others are able to save their lives by going outside. Song notices a helmet on the floor after they are fully out. Luna is also nowhere to be found. The water in the foundation leaks out via the windows and fissures, but it quickly freezes. Song and Dr. Hong soon locate Luna without a spacesuit, staring at the Earth. The fact that she has totally adapted to the moon's environment and can live here normally is then revealed. Luna discovers the captain on the point of death a few times later. The power of the water threw him outside. She hands him his pin and watches him die in the final scene. The rescue shuttle then finds Song, Luna, and Dr. Hong and returns them to Earth, according to the story. Furthermore, Mr. Kim has dethroned Choi, making the Earth safe for Luna.